Oregon voters will have the chance to vote on two ballot measures that would make it harder for lawmakers to raise taxes. And Fox 12's Simon Gutierrez takes a closer look at the impacts of Measures 103 and 104.
With the election approaching, Christopher Hopkins' mind is more on making ramen than making big statements. But he has made up his mind on Measure 103.
I don't like the measure because it doesn't really help out small businesses. It's designed for larger businesses.
Measure 103 would prevent the state and local governments from imposing taxes on the sale of groceries. It has the support of several major grocery chains operating in Oregon who have donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Yes on 103 campaign.
I think everybody feels that food is a necessity and food should be tax-free. Food and beverage for human consumption is the one thing that we have to have.
Although there is currently no state tax on groceries, supporters of 103 say Measure 97, a gross receipts tax, which failed during the 2016 election, and other recent initiatives are signs the state is looking to raise taxes somewhere, and they want to keep groceries off the table.
Anytime we face those types of challenges, those are costly. Those are very expensive campaigns that take a long time, a lot of money, and ultimately in the grocery business, those costs are passed to the consumer because we operate on razor-thin margins, anywhere between 2% and 4%.
But opponents of the measure say its language is too broad and would shelter several different industries from taxation.
There's an exemption as far as taxes for places like slaughterhouses and trucking companies, because the way that the language of the measure is written, if you are any industry touching groceries, as they say, from farm to fork, you are going to be eligible for a tax exemption.
Measure 103 is one of two tax measures on the ballot this year. Measure 104 would require a 3/5 majority vote in the state legislature to change fees, tax exemptions, deductions, and credits.
One of the biggest reasons is because it's a way to help family farmers and small businesses in Oregon.
Brenda Furkatich is a third-generation farmer in St. Paul in Marion County. She says passing Measure 104 would prevent the legislature from using farmers to raise revenue for the state by eliminating or reducing tax deductions and exemptions. There have been a handful of bills in the past several years proposing just that.
The bill last year, when I actually calculated out what that would look like if those deductions and exemptions went away, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars every year in new costs for our farm.
But opponents of Measure 104 say Oregon's tax code is full of ineffective and wasteful tax breaks for things like owning golf courses, forest mansions, and hot tub heaters. They say it would be harder to change or eliminate those tax breaks if the measure passes. As for Measure 103, there's some debate about the scope of the tax exemptions. The ballot title says restaurants are included. The Yes on 103 campaign says they are not. Hopkins, who owns Mama San's Soul Shack in St. John's, says the potential benefit to him would be dwarfed by the benefits to large corporations.
They're not really thinking about us. They're really thinking about themselves and how they can further their cause. I just think everybody should have to pay their fair share, honestly.
In North Portland, Simon Gutierrez, Fox 12 Oregon.